Hey all, so one of the big debates with the Nintendo Switch 2 is actually what first-party games are made available only on Switch 2, and which have like dedicated modes and stuff to the Switch 2 that makes it worthwhile. So I'm going to go over the 8 games in this video that obviously have these features and are made for the Switch 2, so if you're interested in that stuff, make sure you obviously subscribe and you like and whatnot. I'm going to start by going over the games that have Switch 2 versions, but these also have versions on Switch 1. So the first one we have is obviously Breath of the Wild. This is obviously a game which honestly it's been re-released twice already, so it's obviously on the Wii U and it's on the Switch 1. The Switch 2 version, I believe, adds a few modes and a few graphical upgrades, similar with Breath of the Wild, not Breath of the Wild, but Tears of the Kingdom, which is also another Zelda game, which obviously has a Switch 2 version. And that's what I believe the difference. They have like a few new modes, a few new graphics, and also the performance of these games are a lot better on the Switch 2 than they are on the Switch 1. That is the major improvements I'm aware of for these games. If there's more, let me know in the comments, but as far as I'm aware, that's the major improvements for these two games on the Switch 2. And these two, obviously, they're already available on the Switch 1, and obviously in Breath of the Wild's case, you can get it on the Wii U as well. But these are obviously two games. If you want to get the upgraded versions, obviously, I believe you can get like a discounted version of the upgrade pack for if you already have the games. So there is that too. Plus, if you have Switch Online expansion pack, you do get those included, so that is good as well. You also have Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star Crossed Worlds. Nintendo Switch 2 edition is obviously a brand new version of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And obviously they've added, like, I believe Star Crossed Worlds is a new DLC sort of game mode they've added to this version to make it worthwhile to actually buy on Switch 2. So that's obviously something you can factor in as well if you're interested in, obviously, Kirby. And you want to replay this game and you want to get, the extra modes. Obviously, you have to get Switch 2 for this version. But, if you're into that sort of stuff, maybe pick it up. You never know. Then you also have Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. Now, this game is obviously literally Mario Party Jamboree plus a new game mode called Jamboree TV. That's literally the only difference. Jamboree TV, from what I've heard, is like in 4K. It's like the Switch 2 version, but the original Jamboree Mario Party mode is still just a Switch 1 game. It's not really been improved. I believe they've obviously done some stuff to like the performance, but they've not changed like the logos and stuff in the game. So it's very, very minimal sort of game. And then we have the first party new games for Nintendo. So these are like the 4 games that they've published so far. We're going to start with Drag X Drive. This game is obviously kind of notorious at the minute. It seems one of the worst Switch 2 games Nintendo's published so far, which obviously out of like 8 games, so it's not really much competition. Now, this game is obviously a wheelchair basketball game where you have to use the mouse cursors, well, not cursors, but the mouse functionality of the Switch 2 to actually play the game. Obviously, it's not bad in my opinion. It's not a terrible game. From what I've heard, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem terrible, but people seem to be complaining about that. But Drag X Drive, it exists and it's a Switch 2 game, and it's only functional with the Switch 2 due to obviously the mouse functionality. So there is that. Then you have Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which, let's be fair, the Welcome Tour is like the most controversial game any, because it should have been free. It should have been free. It's not insanely bad. It does show you what you're supposed to do with the console and all the features and stuff. But then it does feel like it should have been like a packing game. It should have automatically been bundled on all the systems, or even just a download code, like just so we could learn how to use the console we just paid like 400 quid for. Then we also have 2 other major games. Those being obviously Mario Kart World, being the brand new Mario Kart, and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is obviously the new Donkey Kong. Now, both of these games, to me, I argue, will be the killer apps on the Switch 2 right now, because obviously these games were not already re-released on the Switch 1, and they are actually, in my opinion, they're actually better than what we have seen with obviously other games from Nintendo so far for Switch 2, which obviously included Welcome Tour and Drag X Drive. Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World, however, are both were originally developed as Switch 1 games, but they were moved over during production to be developed for the Switch 2. So these games do not push the hardware to its limit as much as it could do. But I feel like in the future we will see obviously some Switch 2 games that push the hardware more to its limit. I know Cyberpunk 2077 is being used as a graphical showcase for the Switch 2. But, from Nintendo's own end, these are the 8 games that, you'd buy a Switch 2 for. These are the first party Nintendo games anyway. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Are you going to buy a Switch 2 based on these 8 games so far? Are you waiting for Metroid Prime 4? Are you waiting for Pokemon Legends of Are you waiting for, Kirby Air Riders? Because I think Kirby Air Riders will do quite well, because Kirby Air Riders is such a well-known game. It's so iconic. But will you guys be waiting? Will you guys be buying one now? Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. If If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that sort of stuff. I've been EC and I'm signing out. Peace.